Well, essentially, it is an interesting business, right? It's a unique business, and that's what attracted me to it. Not just anyone would join a professional wrestling company, let alone want to start one. And so you have to be a special type of dreamer, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely. Who wakes up and says, "I want to run a wrestling school"? I mean, there's so many people that are qualified to do it that choose not to do it.
And so to clarify, we have Xtreme Wrestling Center, which is where we train the professional wrestlers.
Correct.
That was the first company that was officially established out of a longer backstory, which we will tell, as time goes on, and if people want to hear more, basically, on this show. But, we'll leave some things to be imagined as of yet. But just like anything, there's years of story to tell. And you couldn't just talk about it in 30 minutes or an hour and really do justice to the struggle of us running a professional wrestling company over 5 years in Kansas City during a time when professional wrestling has not been at its peak necessarily. There's been some up times during that.
For sure.
But overall, professional wrestling is in a strange place in American culture in a lot of ways, as far as like what's the future hold. But to me, fundamentally, that is kind of a secondary to if we tell a good story and if we're putting out a good product, then that is the legacy that we can create. We can't control the rest of the narrative of what people might envision professional wrestling to be for whatever cultural reasons today, but we know what it means to us and what we liked about it.
Oh, absolutely.
And what we like about it and what we love about it, right?
Oh, 100%. One of the things that drew us together to go into business was our love of 1996, 1997, 1998, 1999 wrestling, on top of the 80s, on top of, some of the 70s stuff that we watch. There's a passion. There's a love. And it's really what brought us together. It gave us a good base, to talk about what we loved about it and things that we hated about it. There was a lot of garbage as well as a lot of really great stuff.
Yeah.
And the fact that Vince McMahon could dictate his own universe, it was very awesome.
Intriguing and mysterious, maybe.
Absolutely.
But actually, running a company over years, do you feel like that's lifted the veil for you more?
Oh, 100%. I can understand how ECW, a lot of people would criticize how that business model worked. Now listening to a lot of podcasts, it's even more insightful. Reading books, it's way more insightful about how the business structure works, how WCW managed to fail. There was a fact that was released recently that TNA has been in business longer than WCW, and that totally blew my mind. Nowadays, how wrestling works, you are able to keep a wrestling company together, and you're able to create some profit off of this if you market it right, if you sell it right, get enough sponsorships, so on and so forth. But you have to have a team underneath you. At the end of the day, even though Vince McMahon gets to call everything that happens within that company, he has so many teams underneath him. He has so many people working for him.
Oh yeah, it's a theater production. So for anyone to, think that it doesn't require a whole team to run any kind of a production, I mean, of course it does.